Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts with breaking news.
Well, breaking this morning, one person is in the hospital after crashing into a fence. This happened in the area of 80th and Q in Ralston just before 11:30 last night. Details are few at this hour. We do know, according to Douglas County officials, one person was taken to the hospital. Their injuries are non-life threatening. Stay with First Alert 6 as we work to update you on air and online. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on our First Alert 6 streaming on this Friday morning. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley, joined by Jarrett Lansford and Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord. Going to be kind of a rainy forecast for the holiday weekend.
Luckily, it's nothing all that heavy, but boy, you're going to be keeping an eye on the forecast just because of all the rain chances we have all the way into the weekend. So let's start off with today's, and the clouds are moving in right now, and you can see those filtering out the sunlight. A lot of high clouds to start. They'll get thicker and thicker as the day goes along and eventually bring us some rain chances. 48 right now, light wind. Luckily, that's a theme for today. You don't have to worry about the wind at all over the course of the next several days, as a matter of fact. Now, you can see here, watch the west edge of all this rain. There's just new stuff that bubbles up, fires up, and moves east, and that's going to be the case. Everything within this goes west to east, and then the whole complex moves west to east as well. So the clouds thicken up and the better odds for rain start to move in after about 9 o'clock. You can see some of those already approaching the western edge of our viewing area, some southwest of Beatrice right now with a little bit of rain moving through. So keep this in mind if you're heading to state track, because while the chances for rain are never great at any one point, with spotty thunder showers possible from noon onward, there could be some lightning with some of this. Now, nothing severe is expected, but any lightning with all the light poles and the metal around, they would delay things. So that's something to watch. This is the first day where that's really been an issue. So you got to keep an eye on that. Temperatures in the 40s right now as you step out. So you got that morning chill that we've had every morning so far. Upper 30s still holding on in parts of west central Iowa. Last morning of those for a little while. If you're heading to the Big Ten tourney, big game tonight means a lot. The winner of this one will go to the semifinals and get a chance to play for a championship. So Oregon and Nebraska, I think it's mostly right around 60 degrees with a few sprinkles right at the start. So let me show you how the rain kind of moves through today. Most of it to the west here this morning. By 9 a.m. you can see some of that sneaking in. So we'll say 9's the earliest shower. Doesn't mean it starts right at 9 for everybody. But then better chances of rain as we approach lunch, and you can see a couple spotty showers, maybe a thunder shower moving in here by 2, 3 o'clock. Model showing hints of a few thunder showers. I don't expect anything to be severe. Maybe just gets a little cooler and you get a downpour with some of those thunder showers. That would be about it. By 5 o'clock, a couple moving through. And notice, towards 6 and 7, ball game getting going down at Charles Schwab. It looks like things are going to be okay, just cloudy, right around 60 degrees. And then overnight tonight, nothing more than a couple sprinkles moving through. It'll stay cloudy heading towards Saturday, where we have, well, cloudy skies to start and more rain chances. But I got to stress, it's not all day rain again on Saturday. It will start off pretty dry, clouds around most of the day. Earliest rain chance, look, we put here about 3 o'clock, but the best rain chances are probably after 8 p.m. So we can get a lot of good outdoor time with 70 for the high. It's not as warm as it should be, but that one has been trending warmer. So that's some good news for Saturday.
Okay, so we know what we can expect on Friday and Saturday. How's the rest of our holiday weekend looking?
Still got some rain.
Still got some rain.
Yeah, it's not all day rain. Again, none of these days are complete washouts. I got to stress that. You just have chances each day. It's very tough to rain 72 hours in a row anywhere other than the rainforest. It just doesn't happen. So we're not going to have that be an issue. You got clouds and mostly morning rain chances on Sunday. And then Monday could be a little more on and off with maybe a little thunder in there on Memorial Day. That will keep us a little cooler. But you can see the best afternoon high we can get is probably that 70 on Saturday. So here's how the rain chances play out. Notice 10, 11, 12 o'clock. You get a couple of spotty showers trying to move in by 3 in the afternoon on Saturday. But the best odds are probably going to be later on in the evening and overnight with that complex moving through. That lingers a bit for Sunday morning with a few showers. And then it's just clouds that are annoying during the day on Sunday. They never completely clear. And then there you go for Monday, some rain trying to move back in, and that could be a little more on and off. So that's a big story with your 10-day forecast here. You're looking at 63 Monday, 66 on Tuesday, and nothing really warming up until we get to the end of next week. That's consistently been there as we make our way through. We're looking at highs right around 80 degrees. So we'll show you that 10-day forecast again there. Now, that went pretty quick. You can catch that here a little later on or always on our website as well.
Okay, Rusty, thank you. In the meantime, really quiet so far this morning. I mean, come on, kids are out of school, especially for the lower grade levels and for the college level as well.
Yeah, we've seen the amount of traffic decrease here over the last, as we kind of whittle away at the amount of kids who are still going to the classroom. Last day today for some of those kids. So that's an exciting time of year, and it's exciting for drivers too. Less people you have to contend with as you're on the roads, especially when you're going through some of these construction zones. This is what it's looking like as you're heading westbound on I-80 right around Giles. So you're still kind of getting squeezed and merging among those lane closures that are in that stretch. So as you're entering that stretch, it's a little slow. It's nothing too terrible though. We have had way worse mornings than this as this project's been underway. So just a little bit slow as you first get into that zone heading westbound. As far as eastbound goes, holding up pretty well so far. A little bit slow on 144th in that construction zone, but again, it's been worse than what we're seeing right now. So that's an encouraging sign. Let's check in on another construction zone, 480 as you're heading over. That's all green, so that's a good sign as you're heading through that stretch. Looks like we're holding up in pretty good shape. A couple of spots that are still a little slow though, and we mentioned some of the schools that have gone on to session. That is not the case for Lewis Central students. You could tell with the amount of traffic that's still showing up here. A little slow on Harry Langdon, Highway 92. Watch that area. That's one of our few that are running behind at this point. Picking up the traffic some on Dodge in the early going. Again, nothing too crazy as far as any kind of delays are showing up there. It's a pretty good morning. Just keep in mind, you go into the construction zones, maybe a little slow in some spots, but so far, so good for our Friday. Now, we did mention this is the beginning of the holiday weekend, so there's going to be a lot of people on the roads. We're going to take a check at some of the different travel impacts, both locally and further out here in just a little bit.
All right, we'll be looking for that. Jared, thank you. News now, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office says a 19-year-old is dead after he was shot and killed by a deputy. We are told Janiti Ibrahim died at the hospital. This happened near 48th and Pratt. The Sheriff's Office says the deputy was working on a gun investigation.
When the deputy approached a parked car, multiple people ran away. Ibrahim stayed inside. That's when shots were fired. A family member says they are in mourning and concerned about what comes next.
I mean, things can change any second, any day, anytime. So everybody's worried and scared because now this happened. Now they're very scared.
The Sheriff's Office is still searching for several suspects. Per department policy, the deputy is on paid leave. A Sarpy County judge set bond at $5 million for a former Nebraska City neurosurgeon. Travis Tierney has been charged with sexually explicit depictions of a child. He was arrested at Epley Airfield. At the time he was arrested, Tierney was out on bond, awaiting trial in a Douglas County on child sex assault charges. If convicted, he could face up to 50 years behind bars. Two appointees of Governor Jim Pillen face state senators and the public.
That's right. It's about their potential role in regulating medical marijuana. Laurel Mudane and Monica Oldenburg testified in front of the General Affairs Committee. Opponents criticized the two appointees, pointing to their past opposition to medical cannabis. Senator John Kavanaugh of Omaha asked for their responses.
The voters have spoken, right? The people have spoken, and medical marijuana, medical cannabis is what, people in Nebraska voted for. And so I don't view my role on this to try and squash it, because I don't have the power to do that.
I think we have to look at research, and there is some research with some of these conditions that show that it helps. And again, that's going to be on the commission with collaborating with both the public, the Nebraska Medical Society, other physicians, and seeing where is our research going? Is this a good condition to help with?
The General Affairs Committee voted 5-3 positive recommendation for Oldenburg and 4-4 neutral on Mudane. The Speaker of the Nebraska State Legislature says he cannot accept Governor Pillen's tweaks to the state budget. Earlier this week, the governor's office announced he signed the state budget bills, adding line item vetoes to adjust the spending plans. However, according to the Speaker, the legislature did not receive the actual paperwork until yesterday, which was too late. Well, coming up, Memorial Day is right around the corner.
Why it could be a record year for travel when we come back. All right, welcome back. Time now 7:14 as we begin this Friday morning. A lot to look to. It is a holiday weekend for many folks out there. Not going to be the tanning weather, though, that some people around the country are going to get.
Everybody's so excited to get to the pool, do something by the lake. It's just not going to be the weather for it. There's a lot going on. You're still going to be able to be outside a lot, but it's going to feel a little more like early spring rather than late spring with this one. Today, got 2 games down at the ballpark. They got all 4 in yesterday, and today they got a little rain to work around, but the first one's at 9, the next one's at 6 o'clock tonight. We're starting off at 48, so it's a little cool out there. If you're heading to state track as well, keep that in mind. This is the first day we've had to deal with any rain chances, and it looks like spotty showers as early as 9 o'clock as it gets going, and then by the afternoon could be some isolated thunder showers. Nothing severe, but lightning is a problem. Every thunderstorm has lightning, whether it's severe or not, so we got to keep an eye out for that, and that could cause some delays out there with everybody kind of out in the open and nowhere to go for some shelter. Satellite and radar showing us this complex. It's just gradually going to move east and a little bit southeast over the course of the day today. So the clouds are filling in. Spotty showers will move in, especially after 9 o'clock. Temperatures for the most part in the 40s right now. And you get a wider view, still a couple of 30s holding on in west central Iowa. So you got a little chill in the air there, 50s to the southwest. And let's march through it because notice by 9 you got some spotty showers around 9 o'clock, mostly on the Nebraska side, and just a few of those traipsing through every now and then. And never completely dry, but we're never entirely filled in with rain either. By 3 o'clock, there's some embedded thunder showers trying to move through. By 5, still a couple of those left. By 7, most should be east and out of here. So the game between Nebraska and Oregon tonight should be relatively rain-free, aside from a couple sprinkles. Might have to dry the seat off before you sit down from the rain prior, but overnight, pretty quiet conditions. Shower chances tomorrow don't pick up until the afternoon, and that's only a 20% chance by 3 o'clock. The better odds get going probably after 7 or 8 o'clock Saturday, and you can see how this would kind of move through during the day on Saturday. Clouds would fill in. So quite a few clouds. I still think we can warm to near 70, though. So this is looking like the best day temperature-wise for the weekend. By 6 o'clock, you can see showers mostly in our northern edge counties there, and it won't really fill in until after 8 o'clock. And you can see into the evening hours, maybe a few thunder showers as well to watch for. Sunday, you got a little morning rain, a little bit of an east breeze. So early morning showers to contend with that would gradually move out. By 9 o'clock, you have some of those left, mainly south of I-80, and then they gradually move out, and it's mostly about the clouds the rest of the day on Sunday. So overall, though, not a big rainmaker. We're likely looking at a ½ inch or less in most of the area. The heavier totals probably on the Nebraska side, too. Lighter totals on the Iowa side, the way things are playing out. So there's your next 5 days. Near 70 on Saturday, probably the warmest. On and off showers on Monday and even into Tuesday. Going to make it tough to warm. So we're likely parked in the 60s, much like we have been each of the last several afternoons. Quite a few 60s, but now we're going to see more clouds to go along with those 60s, unfortunately.
A lot of 60s, that one little lonely 70. When are we going to get to some warmer weather? I'm asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. All right. Well, your friend, you got to look to next weekend. Late next week into the weekend, there's the 80s, and that'll be close to average. But there's no heat, there's no humidity, and the overall pattern tends to lead to the cooler air still being parked across the southeast. I tell you what, there's just cool air all over. You got to go to the west coast to run into some warmth.
Well, let's do that then.
There you go. All right. Rocky Mountains and west. That's where it's at. Let's go. That'd be a long road trip. Better get started, I guess.
All right. Thanks, Rusty. In the meantime, let's get an update on traffic this morning. We like that quad shot you always show us.
Yeah, let's check in on it. You know, holiday weekend. A lot of people that are going to be heading onto the roads. And the good news for anyone who's maybe starting that road trip out west is they've got some pretty good conditions that are in place. Nothing that's really jumping out as a big slowdown this morning. That's how we like to start off our mornings. This is what it looks like 144th West Dodge. You can see picking up the traffic, but that traffic is moving out there. Let's take a look at Epley, because this is one of the places that will be busier here as we go through the course of the day. I did check. We have just a couple of minor delays that are in place. One flight to Charlotte and another to Dallas here today, but everything else on schedule. As you're driving to the airport, a little slow as you're heading northbound on Abbott, right near Locust. That's been a consistent slowdown that's been there. But aside from that, looks pretty good as you're traveling in that area. And when we zoom things out, you're noticing just a couple of spots that stand out. We mentioned a little bit ago, right near Lewis Central and Council Bluffs, some persistent slowing on Harry Langdon as well as Highway 92. A little slow on Dodge right near 90th. That's just the amount of traffic that's in there, and some minor delays right near that construction zone on Giles. But in the metro looks good. Let's zoom out even a little further and take a look. As maybe you're hitting some of the interstates, you're heading further to the east in Iowa toward Des Moines. I-80 looking pretty good at this point. You're heading west on I-80, looks good further to the west in Nebraska. I-29 toward Kansas City, towards Sioux City or Sioux Falls, also holding up well. So as long as we can keep that as a case, no real problems for holiday travel.
Sail wherever you're going. All right, Jared, thank you. Well, a large crowd attended the opening ceremonies of Special Olympics Nebraska at DJ Sokol Arena on Creighton's campus.
Yeah, the celebration started with a parade of athletes. About 500 athletes across the state will be here to compete in 4 events: swimming, gymnastics, volleyball, and running.
That's the beauty when you travel in sport, is you get to see people that you might have met before, and the same applies here in Special Olympics. So I love when an athlete comes up to me and says, I finally won a medal, I've been working really hard, and that makes me really proud.
It's pretty special, right? Activities go until tomorrow. The competitions are held at different centers across the city.
I love their enthusiasm. All right, so Jarrett just mentioned the Memorial Day travel forecast. It is expected to top the previous record set back in 2005. So get ready for more than 45 million of your closest friends on our nation's roadways and skyways this year. Here's AAA's Brian Ortner on what we can all expect.
Here in Nebraska and Iowa, we're seeing larger numbers than last year, which is great. We're not quite near the record on total number of travelers yet for our area, but there's a lot of people planning to hit the road for this holiday.
Well, travelers are also turning to the seas in record numbers. AAA says 19 million Americans are planning on taking cruises in 2025.
Take me away, anywhere, anywhere at all. Another first alert as you travel this weekend. AAA will be activating its Tow to Go program. This will be active tonight from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Tuesday. When you call Tow to Go, you and your car will be taken to a safe location within 10 miles. It is totally free to use at the number there on your screen. So if you're thinking about drinking and driving,
yes, please do.
Don't, and that's an option. Grab your popcorn and a drink, but make sure to stick around for the preview.
Now, what you could expect to be a box office hit this summer when we come back on First Alert 6 Streaming.
Summer movie season kicks off Memorial Day weekend as the live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch. Also, Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning rides into theaters.
I wonder if he's still doing all of his stunts.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see. That's not all, though. The month of May comes to a close with Karate Kid Legends. My boys are actually excited about that one. Just to name a few of what you could expect in June and July, a live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon, Pixar's Elio, and the racing drama F1, the movie. Dinosaurs stump back into theaters in July with Jurassic World Rebirth, followed by Superman, a new animated Smurfs, and Marvel's The Fantastic Four: First Steps. Do any of these interest you guys?
Oh, me and my boyfriend were talking about how we're going to be front row at the Lilo and Stitch movie with a bunch of 5-year-olds. I was like, you weren't there for the original. We were there.
I didn't notice.
Dragon one we're looking at. Okay, what
Kind of
did
a
you notice?
trend as we were going through all those. There's a lot of sequels and prequels
Yeah.
there.
Most
Big
of them
franchises,
are. Most
they
of them
just-
are.
Yeah.
What was new?
Elio?
Okay, so
about
that
it.
was it.
There you go.
A lot of throwbacks, remakes. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get ready for our update in the Today Show. You can watch it here on streaming, or you can watch us over the air.
Have a great start to your weekend.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Friday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. Update on the roads as maybe you start to head out the door for Memorial Day weekend travel. We'll get to Jarrett.
And we do have a few slow spots to first alert you to. That includes Council Bluffs we're starting with. Right near Lewis Central, some pretty sizable delays that are showing up Highway 92, Harry Langdon. So watch for that area, particularly 92 is where we're seeing a lot of the slowdowns. Elsewhere, a little slow as you get into that construction zone I-80, but not as bad as we've had on some mornings. Just a little bit of a delay as you're heading westbound. 144th is pretty slow near I-80. If we zoom out here, you're going to see a lot of our roads are running in pretty good shape in the early going. Busy near 90th and Dodge. That's to be expected at this point in the morning. Rusty.
Out the door, you got 40s yet again. Third morning in a row, I think, with widespread 40s on the map. We're at 50 in Millard, though. Clouds are moving in. It's going to be a little more difficult to warm today. You can see all the clouds streaming in from the west here. A lot of these are high clouds, but they're forming off these showers and thunder showers that eventually move into the area. So that batch there you see west of Norfolk will start to move in close to the 9 o'clock hour. Again, it's not going to be steady, widespread rain, but 9's probably the earliest chance. If you're heading to the state track meet, you get 62 for the high today, and this is the first day where you got to think about rain and thunder showers. Mid to late or midday into the afternoon, you get the potential for some thunder showers. Nothing severe, but some lightning is possible with those rain chances that go up around the lunch hour and stick with us through the afternoon. The high of 62 today, warms up to 70 by tomorrow. Aaron?
All right, some breaking news we have been following. One person is in the hospital after crashing into a fence. This happened near 80th and Q just before 11:30 last night. According to Douglas County officials, one person was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
It is 7:28. We are back with another update for you in 25 minutes. We'll see you then. Have a great day, everybody.
Ba, 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 ba.